Unique New York. Unique New York. No. Hi guys. Welcome to Jabbering Jawas. This is your host, Will. The Thrill. This is weird. I doing it without Joey because now I gotta say all this stuff. Will the Thrill, Will Sith. We have a special guest here. This is Dominic, our friend. Yes, see, he's already he's in character. Joey's not feeling well. So we haven't done this the last week and everything. So we're kind of trying to make up for that. And Dominic is here to fill in, and we're gonna have a fun show either way. I had to do this and too. Yes, to warn if you're under the age of 18, you might say some stuff. I don't know. Dominic will not. We'll find out. We'll see. You might cut loose. Who knows? Yeah, if you're under the age of 18, just be careful.
Click away.
Yes, there you go. Sorry, I did the warning, so it's all good.
Also, should we say spoilers as well at the start? Well, people would probably already know that already. I mean, by the podcast itself.
Yeah, well, if you're watching this, I'm pretty sure that you already watched the episode and you come here to find out about it.
If you haven't, what are you doing here? Honestly,
I would hope so. I'm like, yeah, if you haven't, why the fuck are you watching this? Everybody died.
Wait, I don't think we saw the same episode.
Yeah, so I would hope that right now you would know that there's going to be spoilers because we're going to talk about in detail these
as much detail.
Episodes. Yes, as much detail as
we will tell you the colors of each ship. They're all gray. I don't know. It's been sad since we haven't had Sabine on TV.
Yeah,
it's just been all colorless.
Hopefully soon.
Right.
Next season because that's going to be about Mandalorian. So we'll see.
Exactly.
But before we start, I did want to say the original actor of Boba Fett, Jeremy Bulloch, he had passed away at the age of 75, and I mean 2020 takes another one.
And it's been like that since 2016, losing beloved Star Wars icons. Starting with it was Carrie Fisher, and it's these generations that are slowly again. It's like we're in 2020 and we're losing people at 75. That sounds young at this day and age, but they lived a good life and they're resting now, so that's good. And it's sad to see them go, but
yeah, I think
it's one of those things, a part of life. They're one with the Force now.
Yeah, I think you'd be happy to see that we get to see Boba Fett, and I mean, hopefully before you pass, you did get to see that.
I want to bet probably.
Yeah. You got to see Boba Fett fully realized, in the Mandalorian stuff.
There's so much he's done without doing much.
Yeah. I mean, look at the Mandalorians. They built all of this literally off of his character, which is insane. That's crazy. He didn't even have to do that much, like you said. He just he stood there. He took a few shots at some people, and I think Empire Strikes Back, and then he flew in a jetpack and died. So
that's what's great about the community too, is that a guy just standing there, we've made into a huge show, from the fans from then. I imagine Gene's guy is going to get a show down the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the trailer guy from Force Awakens. One of the few things you can pull from the sequel trilogy and be like, hey, I really like that character. It's random, but make a show about him now. No,
that's the beauty of Star Wars. You can make a show about anybody in the universe.
Yeah. You can literally branch a whole, just totally different, story and timeline off of one person, and be like, well, this is where this person comes from, and back in the Old Republic, this is how it started. And it's just yeah, I hope they definitely do more of that. That would be really cool to see. And I mean, we can glean quite a few things off of this latest episode, but before we do that, let's talk about some Star Wars news. We have a lot to talk about that we didn't talk about last year. So, I mean, I don't really know off the top of my head all of the shows that they announced are going to come out. So I just have them right here.
Probably look. Okay, you have the list. Awesome.
Yeah, I'll just list them off, and then you just tell me after this which ones you're most excited for.
I will give you a scale from Botha fodder to this X-Ring. That's my scale, everyone.
All right. So the first one right here, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi. that
That is
series.
beyond X-Wing. That is high ground. That's all I gotta do. Like I literally am wearing the high ground.
And they already confirmed that Hayden Christensen's going to be back as Darth Vader. So yeah,
I'm
I
hoping for
definitely
some flashback scenes too, so we can get that Clone Wars
yes,
era.
the armor and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be amazing. I'm glad to bring Hayden back. I'm really excited about that because I always liked Hayden. And even when I was like criticizing his acting at times, I was like, I just really love how he looked as Anakin. Like he is Anakin.
And
And
like if you watch the behind the scenes, just seeing him on set, he seems like such a joy to be with.
yeah, I've never heard anybody say anything bad about like working with him in any of the movies he's been in. So yeah, I'm glad that they're giving Hayden another chance to come back, and I think people appreciate him more now.
Mhm.
And me and Joey talked about this, of course, and I know Joey's super fucking excited about this show, of course. Um, but yeah, that Hayden got a bad rep when
Oh, absolutely.
the prequels came
It
out.
it's interesting because you like those original trilogy. They're just the new fans. This is created all of a sudden. Then you have the prequels and they hate that, but prequel fans love that. And you got the sequels
Mhm.
where like the hate train's gonna go, but the love train is right behind.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, we'll see. And if they're able to do something like Clone Wars or something with the sequel trilogy, maybe it can become
Yeah, a lot of things
a
could
little
be
bit better. We'll
saved
see.
by just expanding.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see. I I'm not too sure about them bringing back like Daisy Ridley and like Oscar
I,
Isaacs and all them, especially like John Boyega, because that I don't know. I guess they've been talking still, so we'll see. But uh,
yeah.
I definitely like their characters, and I hope they get a little
It's
bit more.
interesting because with like all these side stuff we're doing with the original prequels, we're doing them later down the line, so we can't bring back these people, even though technology is getting there. Uh, but with the sequel trilogy, we can do all this stuff now since we have all the people with us, all the actors.
Yeah. So I do hope that they get a little bit more fleshed out with these characters. That would be great.
Hmm.
Because I do like the characters. So we'll see. Up next, the Ahsoka series.
I'm gonna put that at high ground too. Uh,
Yeah.
I,
I
I'll let
know
you go.
that.
Sorry.
Well, I know that Joe is here. He's still a little skeptical on that one because he wasn't a huge fan of like that episode, like Rosario Dawson yet. So we'll see.
I
There
thought
was
it
definitely
was good.
some things where I was like not quite there yet with the
Oh, that
Ahsoka, but we'll see. I think when you have a whole series, it'll be more fleshed out.
that is
It
fair. Sorry. I'm sorry.
oh no, go ahead.
I saw it like because it was good and there was a lot of things I know they couldn't do, but it was
Mhm.
a good like kind of spoonful because for us fans of the Clone Wars and Rebels, we kind of had these expectations for people who haven't seen the animated stuff who were just joining
Yeah,
Mandalorian based off the live action films. Kind of got to spoon feed them before we just throw
yeah,
everything at them.
yeah. That's the thing is like, and I was telling Joey this is just unfortunately so many people haven't watched any of the animated stuff because people just don't watch the animated stuff. Sometimes they think of it as like, oh, that's for kids because it's animated. But Clone Wars and Rebels are really good. They have really great episodes. They have some of the best Star Wars episodes in some of you know in certain seasons and everything. So yeah, I get that they kind of had to hold back a little bit with Ahsoka, and they couldn't just be like, here's all of this character and here's all these things about her that you probably don't understand. Like most people didn't understand the Grand Admiral Thrawn thing because they didn't watch Rebels. They're like, unless they read that book like way back in the day from like the 90s, 80s, 90s, they probably don't know who Grandma Admiral Thrawn was. And they're like, oh, yeah, Grand Admiral. I don't, who's that? Like, yeah,
I feel bad for people who just read the books, like, oh, they're finally doing it. It's like they've done it already.
yeah, yeah. So, unfortunately, people don't watch the animated series as much as they should. It's right there on Disney Plus. People, I'm just saying, easy to watch. One of my best friends actually, he's just getting to season 7 right now and finishing that up. So I was like, yeah, man, you definitely need to finish that because the end of season 7 is some of the best Star Wars like to date. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So up next, Rangers of the New Republic.
I'm gonna put that kind of towards the middle because I have no idea what to expect. I'm hearing that it's gonna be like a Cara Dune show, but it could be
Mhm.
anything.
Yeah, that see that there's that, but I keep hearing these things of like that they because of that kind of controversy that that Gina Carano had, that they might sever ties with her. I don't know. But I mean, even Rosario Dawson had controversy as well, and I mean, plenty of other people that they've worked with have had controversy, and
Almost
Disney
everybody has it.
and like Disney, Marvel, whatever, and still worked with them. So I don't know about that. So we'll see. Yeah, like I agree. I don't know what it's going to be about.
It has my intrigue. That's about it.
Yeah, it sounds like it could be an interesting show. That's for sure.
I would love it if it's like a buddy cop show.
Mm-hmm. Who do you think it would be if it was like Cara Dune? Who do you think she might be with? Just like a
They'll
random
probably
officer?
try to bring like new people and everything, since this is going to be more sequel era starting to be. But if they had to like just pull someone, I don't know. It'd be cool to bring someone from the EU, like someone from that would be part of that time range.
Yeah, you got interesting if they brought back, and let me just make sure that I have his name right, but he was from like the old games, and he was a Jedi in those games, but he started off as like kind of just like a Republic.
I know who you're talking about, but the name is losing me.
Yeah, from like the Jedi Academy, Jedi Outcast, like that kind of shit. Shit, what was it? Jedi Academy. His name
I don't know,
was.
but that could work out because this takes place in the same time as Mandalorian. This is when Luke is starting to build his school.
Kyle
Sorry,
Katarn.
it's starting to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they start him out there.
His name was Kyle Katarn, and because I was start thinking about that, especially since the end of episode 8 and who we saw. Now I'm like, okay, there's so many other possibilities now. So yeah, I could possibly see him coming in there. But we'll see. So up next, they have the Andor series.
That one I'm most excited about. That one's up near X-Wing.
Okay. Yeah, I know Joey was excited about that too. And I mean, I like his character, and I think he gives off real like I wouldn't say Han Solo vibes, because we actually talked about this. We thought that if Solo was made into a TV series, it would have been like way better. And I feel like this will be what a Solo TV series would have been. And I mean, we'll talk about something else later that's they're obviously making as well. But yeah, that this kind of gives me like it'll be that vibes, and it almost seems like it could be a little bit grittier almost, because Cassian as a character, he sounds like he's done some shit. Like he sounds like he's had to do some pretty like gnarly shit.
Absolutely. You see that literally in the first scene we meet him, and you kind of in Rogue One, you basically see him kind of like loosen up. But this is going to be before that, so we're going to see all that fall before he redeems himself, basically.
I want to see why he's so wound up at the beginning of Rogue One. Why he's so like guarded. Because he was real guarded with her, and then he started to open up, obviously, as he got to know her and was like around her, and we was going through all these missions. But it's like, what has he been through that he's talking about like, oh, I had to do terrible things, and like he's so like, protective of his of himself, So,
yeah, and he talks about he's been doing it since believe 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be cool to get a little flashback of him just trying to survive in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I almost feel like we might get like a pseudo like Aladdin kind of thing where he's like grown up on the streets, and then he becomes like this, awesome like assassin pilot, like whatever. So
spy, whatever the Republic needs of him. Not the Republic, the Rebellion.
There's a lot of cool things I think they could definitely throw in there. So I'm pretty excited about that too, because he has a good character, and he's a great actor. Mm-hmm. Okay, up next, the Bad Batch.
That's just season 8 in disguise. We all know that.
Yeah, no, I thought about this a lot, and I'm like, if they're making show of the Bad Batch, like I like the Bad Batch, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, there's gotta be so many other things that's gonna be in the series. It's just like when we got the Mandalorian announced, and then we've gotten so much more in it besides just this Mandalorian and some other Mandalorians. Like there's been so much in it, and that's what I think the Bad Batch is. I think it's a like bridge animated series so that they can bridge off to other animated series that we've heard of, like possibly more Clone Wars or continuation of Clone Wars or another Rebels. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, no, that's something I'm excited about. Like, because we're continuing the Clone Wars basically,
Mhm.
and I'm very curious because the Bad Batch, because they're kind of born defective, do they have the inhibitor chip or not? That's the one thing I want to know.
Yeah. Oh my god, how did they? Because obviously we can see from the previews they're not. They're obviously not being affected by the chips or
They're
whatever.
still like following orders because those what were given, but they're not like blindly following. They're just like,
And
what's
we
going
can.
on?
I'm pretty sure in the trailers you can see them fighting other clones.
Hmm.
So at one point they obviously realized like, oh, there's something like weird going on here. Let's not do this. So it's like, well, yeah, why aren't they affected? And I'm thinking that it does have to do with the fact that they are the Bad Batch, and then maybe their chips are defective, and that's why they're the way they are.
Yeah, and I feel that's the
So,
same way with Echo too. Since when the Separatists took him, they kind of rewired him.
yeah,
That he
yeah.
probably doesn't even have his chip anymore, or it's
And
defective.
I believe he's still with them, right? Echo's
Yes,
like
yeah,
part of
he
them.
was in
Yeah.
the trailer. He was in like the back of the group.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So that'd be cool to see Echo, and I'm almost like 100% certain we're gonna get um Rex in there at some point.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
we'll probably
obviously,
see Cody when they're at Camino or something.
yeah, and that's gonna be interesting. uh, but yeah, like there's a lot of possibilities with that, and I definitely they're gonna branch off to other things. Um, so up next, this is an interesting one: Star Wars Visions.
That's the anime one, right?
Yeah, it's like a collection of 10 animated short films taking place in the Star Wars universe.
It'll probably be
Um,
something like the Matrix animations thing. That was a while ago.
yeah,
Just short stories and stuff, and that's just something that will be cool to watch. Like I don't know
yeah,
how canonically it will be, but it would just be cool to just put on.
yeah. Because I know we've talked a lot about on here about what if they had a like Marvel's gonna have that kind of what if series basically. And it's like, what if they have something like, what if this is that, and it kind of has these like what
Oh,
if scenarios in it?
if they do that, they better have what if Anakin didn't turn to the dark side, because I want that happy ending.
Yeah, that would be really cool to see. Or what if Maul survived the first thing? What if Obi-Wan got killed? What if this? There's a lot of possibilities. So I
Hmm.
almost wonder if that is like these short bites of just stuff like that. Um, if not, I think they might just have standalone stories and possibly new characters, which could it still be cool. And I feel like this could definitely give me the vibes of like kind of those anthology series that you see sometimes, where you're like, damn, I wish they'd make a whole movie or episode of the like or a series of
Hmm.
just this, like singular episodes.
Yeah,
And I feel like it might end up being like that, but we'll see. Um, so up next, Lando, uh, which I
this
believe
kind of falls in the middle because I'm excited that he's getting a show, but I have no idea which Lando or both Landos
I
or what they're going to be doing.
what I heard, I think it's going to be let's say his rapper name, Donald Glover. Be Donald Glover, which begs the question to me: are we going to see the Solo from Solo in this show?
Ooh,
Because
I would
obviously he'll be around somewhere. You know?
I would very much like that because they've done other stuff together. It seems based off like how friendly they are. Well, semi-friendly in Empire.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, no, obviously, yeah, Han has his ship, and they have this pretty deep personal connection now after all the shit they've been through. So it's like I feel like he's definitely going to show up in there. Obviously, they probably. I'm assuming they signed off. I never say his name. Einreich, whatever his name was, who played Solo. And I'm assuming they signed him off for more than just like the Solo movie,
Yeah,
probably. So they're probably gonna put him in something else. I think he's gonna be in here.
and it'll be cool to
Uh,
see kind of him take on like the underground because that's what feels like where he's at before he hits Cloud City, and then you could also bring in Darth Maul, who is the
yeah, and like
control of all of that.
exactly. So I'm like, because I was looking through this and I'm like, is there anything here where I feel like Crimson Dawn will come in? And I feel like definitely this one. I could see Crimson Dawn coming in, and that's even more reason for him to possibly get Han Solo back. Like, hey man, so I need help. There's this crazy red dude coming trying to kill me. Yeah. So we'll see. Up next, The Acolyte, which sounds interesting. And that one's
Yeah.
set in the High Republic era, which is kind of this thing that they're doing. This was like 100 years before Phantom Menace. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's by Leslie Headland, who made Russian Doll. I really don't know what to expect from that.
Yeah, this is another one where it's just like it's up in the air, like it's Star Wars. So of course we're going to watch it, but what it's going to be about, I have no idea. Because the High Republic is something Disney's just making up. Not like everything's made up, but like they're making up right now something new. They could have given us Old Republic, but no, here's the High Republic.
Yeah, because an acolyte would be like somebody who follows like certain teachings, but they're not really actually like a part of
So
that.
a
Like,
great Jedi. They're finally going to do that, huh?
well, no, like an acolyte would be more like what's his name's character from Rogue One, the blind one, where
Ah,
he follows the Jedi's teaching, but he's not actually a Jedi. But you can see that he does kind of tap into the Force. That's what I think this will probably be, something like that. And then this is by Leslie Headland, which, if I remember correctly, there was rumors talking about she was going to make a more like female centric Star Wars movie or something. So this might be it. And then the acolytes, this female like kind
I
of
mean,
maybe somebody who used to work in the temple, possibly.
that would be cool because like that's something that the Clone Wars like kind of dwelled on. Is just the people who work there, like that.
Yeah,
Like it takes years to get to that position.
like maybe she was a Jedi. Maybe she used to be a Sentinel or something, and now she's not. I don't know. I would love to see more people with the yellow lightsabers or just other different
Just
lightsaber
the
colors.
Guardians. I
Would
mean,
that
they
be?
don't speak
Yeah,
at all, but
because then those Jedi Sentinels and the Guardians, whatever, who would guard the temple and everything, there were some that they would send them out places to go find things. So I'm always like, maybe this is like somebody who didn't quite get to that level or being like an actual temple guard or whatever. And maybe they come back after Order 66 and like everything's destroyed or something. Maybe this ties into Grogu somehow, and this is the person who got him out the temple. I don't know.
I have something for you for that. But we'll get there when we get there.
Okay, yeah, I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah.
So yeah, up next, a droid story. Um, yeah, it's just a story about droids.
Well, no,
Like,
I think it's supposed to center around R2 and C3PO. And we've had
yeah,
that before in Star Wars Droids. Have you seen that animated show? That's I don't know when it came out, but my parents bought me a DVD for it, and I freaking loved it when I was a kid.
yeah. No, they're definitely like, especially together, they're really like just a funny little duo. And then I find it interesting that it says that as they meet and guide a new hero, apparently in the story. So I'm like, who's that new hero going to be? When is this going to be? So I'm almost like, is that? Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like I heard it was after Rise of Skywalker. I could be wrong, but
Rise
if it is,
Skywalker.
we could bring back Broom Boy.
Yeah, maybe. I think that's possible. Yeah, they definitely showed him at the end of Last Jedi, so it's like it'd be a cool little. It's one way to have some things that at least connect to the sequel trilogy in some way, and if this is
Yeah.
good, then can boost it at least a little bit. Um, so we'll see, but definitely, I mean, R2 and C3PO, those two will always just be around in some capacity. Like, I mean, they're droids; they don't actually die. But yeah. So up next, Rogue Squadron.
With Patty Jenkins. Did you see
Hmm.
the teaser she made? Because that one 100% got me on board.
Yeah, that was really cool. Like, that's one of those things that you're like, oh shit, that's super cool. I should just get in the fucking X-wing right now. That's awesome. Uh, and I like her as a director.
Hmm.
Like Wonder Woman to me is, yeah, I'd say it's probably the best of the DC movies that have come out. Um, yeah, so I'm excited to see her do that. I'm excited to see Wonder Woman 1984 too. And yeah, this looks cool because it sounds like the way she said it, how she wants it to be like the best fighter pilot movie ever made, but with Star Wars and in
Hmm.
space. And again, after episode 8, now we're like, is there somebody who was in another squadron who could possibly, I don't know.
Like if it's anything like the final act of Rogue One, and you just build upon something like that, I mean, I'd be speechless.
Yeah. So, we'll see. Definitely really cool. And I mean, there was the game back in the day, Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, I never played it, but I heard
it was very fun. And I don't even like. I mostly when I play Star Wars games, I play like the ones where I can have a lightsaber and shit, and like that kind of stuff. But I like that one. I don't usually like the ship combat stuff, but it was such a good game. So,
especially ship combat and original Battlefront 2. I loved doing that, especially since you could have 2 players. I would always have my brother in the back. We died a lot, and he'd say, "I'm never flying again," but
yeah,
I fly all the ways.
Yeah. So I think if we can recreate some of those feelings, just watching it, it'll be a success. And the last one is it doesn't have a name, Untitled Taika Waititi Project, which I mean, you put Taika Waititi on something, I'm pretty excited about it. To be honest, like he's really fucking good. Like I've seen by him has been.
I like anything that he really touches is going to be good. I'm curious what he does because I'm guessing they're going to give him the green light, basically like do what you do. So to see like his style of film in Star Wars is going to be interesting. That's about it. Like I don't know what to expect because he is unexpected.
Yeah, I don't know because he made Thor Ragnarok, and then after that he made the movie about the boy in like World War II, and like
Jojo Rabbit, which
Jojo
I
Rabbit,
highly recommended, was my favorite film of 2019. Was it 19?
Yeah, it was 2019. One of the last movies I saw in theaters. Because hey, how was I supposed to know that these are gonna close down for?
Right.
But yeah, that was a great movie too. And he always ingests this certain like humor, even when there's more serious themes, he always has like humor and everything, and he does it really well. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he's gonna make, and I almost feel like he's kind of the new Joss Whedon, and obviously Joss is having a few problems of his own with some actors or whatever, but yeah, I feel like he's kind of that new guy who he's really good at character development and humor and just like team building kind of things. Like where
he knows the moments. He knows like not like the humor doesn't go too far, the seriousness doesn't go too far. It's like the timing is impeccable.
So it's like I almost expect from this. I don't think it's going to be anything like. I don't think it's going to be anything we're expecting. Like it's going to be episode 9 or it's going to be the Old Republic or anything like that. This is going to be like some like smaller, intimate story within the Star Wars universe. Maybe
it's going to be about the Gronk droids.
But then again, he made Thor Ragnarok, so I don't know. We'll see. Like,
if you had to choose what era he puts his movies in, which one would you choose?
I would choose somewhere between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. I think it'll be somewhere between that, only because I feel like whether it's new characters or he's possibly going to use older characters, I don't know. I think he'll be good at creating those connections and like showing them, especially if they're like characters we already know, like beloved characters, possibly. I don't know. I think he'll be good at showing those connections between those characters. So we shall see. We shall see. But I'm definitely excited for it either way.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he's great. So we need to talk about, before we get to episode 8, just need to real quick talk about episode 7 because we didn't get to talk about it last week. That I just call it the Bill Burr episode because he
took the lead.
Yeah, he shined. Like he's a pretty funny like comedian and everything. And I remember last season he was in there and it was like okay on that one.
Yeah, I thought they put him in there just to put him in there, you know? Yeah. Here it felt like he belonged.
Yes, like, and I think we talked about this a lot before, me and Joey, where we kind of felt on the first season there were a few characters where actors almost seemed like they didn't quite get the feeling or understanding of what it was to be in Star Wars. Like we felt that way about Carl Weathers a little bit, maybe a little bit Gina Carano, and then kind of this season they're starting to you can tell that they're starting to like understand and like really get a feel of Star Wars, and like they're starting to like it and everything. Because Bill Burr even said before apparently that he hated Star Wars, like he didn't like it, but he went on the show. So it's like it's funny, and you can see like just from how you heard that character and everything, and him talking about how he felt about the Empire, even though he was a part of it. But yeah, that shit like it got me. I was like, okay, that's really cool. Like that was really cool. But yeah.
Yeah, no, like I was like at first I thought since like season 1 it was kind of a 2-part episode that this was like the rescue team, what they were going to bring him along. I was
Mhm.
not expecting it to be an infiltration episode with him.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking of a word to say. But definitely that speech at the end, that when he was talking about his like the people he served with just all dying and stuff, and just that
Yeah.
seriousness in his look, I'm like, oh, this is like a suicide note he's writing.
Mhm.
He doesn't want to get out of this one.
Yeah, like he hates the Empire just as much, if not more, even though he
Hmm.
was in it. And yeah, that was definitely one of the best things of the episode, especially when that officer kind of stopped them. And you're like, oh shit, they're about to get caught. And that reminded me so much of Inglorious Bastards when they're trying to pretend to be German, and one of the high-ranking German officers like sees them and he's like studying them, and he's like, wait, they're not actually German, and they're about to get caught, and you know what's gonna happen, and that's like what was happening there. Obviously, it's Star Wars, so it's not going to be as as violent as Quentin Tarantino film, but it
I
was
mean,
very
he got blasted in the chest. I don't know how violent
yeah,
you can
yeah.
get from that.
Like I said, Mandalorian, they kind of have free range to do a little bit more than other stuff. That's for sure. That's like I said, that's how I feel the Cassian Andor series will be. It'll be a little bit more gritty, a little bit crazier stuff happening. But yeah, like that scene just reminded me of that. And like, oh no, yeah, Bill Burr like absolutely killed that, and he made me like Mayfield, because at
Yeah,
first I
no,
was like, Mayfield, who the fuck is this? Like, I mean, it's fine, I guess, but yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, now I'm like, I like Mayfield. Like, he's a good character. I was actually really sad when he didn't go with him. I was like, no, please make him part of the crew.
I was
But
wishing that too, but now he gets his own journey, and we might see him again in season 3. And
yeah,
I just love the fact that he's like at the end, because he was making fun of Mando the entire time, but at the end he's like, I didn't see your face, and I
hmm
thought that really meant a lot for his character development.
yeah. Like, and then even I mean, even Mando's character development of him taking off the helmet at that point,
Yeah, right now he's
and
gonna do
it's just
anything
like,
for Grogu.
yeah, he's gonna do anything for that kid. And it's like, he had a lot of moments like that this season, honestly, and that's definitely one of the best things of the season was Din Djarin's journey. You know, his kind of arc, and especially meeting like Bo-Katan and all them, just realizing, damn, maybe this isn't the way. Like, maybe this isn't the only way. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
mean, he just has to find his own way now.
hmm Yeah. So, and I mean, we're gonna talk about episode 8, but definitely there's a lot of things open for interpretation as to
Right.
what's happened.
I mean, before we go to that,
Season.
like sticking with episode 7, the seismic charge, that was
Oh
amazing to
yeah.
see again since episode 2. Loved
Yes.
that sound effect.
Yeah, because
Now,
we hadn't seen it since like literally the fucking. I mean, I assume they had in Clone Wars. I can't remember when, but
probably, I'm
that
unsure, but yeah, no. Attack of the Clones is when we were first introduced
definitely
about it, and
Attack
I
of the Clones.
remember seeing that in theaters. I'm like, I want like to use a ship like that,
Yeah,
use the
yeah,
Slave One, and just wreck asteroids.
yeah. And it's actually so cool that because I was wondering it, and then they confirmed it in the episode that Boba Fett came back. Is that armor is Jango Fett's armor? He has Jango Fett's ship. It's just they look they're not as pretty and chrome as they were back in Attack of the Clones and everything. They're a little bit
I
messed up
mean, he
because he
did
painted.
repaint.
Yeah, he painted it obviously, but yeah, it's so interesting that he used that armor and the ship and everything, and it's still got the same weapons, everything, and uh, I mean I like where his character is as well, Boba Fett, and he was only his episode really for kind of that part where like he's the getaway ship basically for this infiltration thing, but that was a really cool moment to see definitely. It's like, oh, did he use the Cybertruck? Really? Oh, shit. Like, yeah, that was nice. Yeah, there's a lot of good things. I even like Cardoon and I can't ever remember her name. Ming Na Wen.
I still
Um,
call her Agent May from Shield.
yeah, yeah, my Ming Na Wen. Yeah, like they were both really good. I like them just kind of. I like the whole plan. Honestly, I thought it was. Obviously, didn't go the way it went, but it worked out because
I mean,
we got
that's
these
I
two
think
back
the
here,
most solid plan we've seen in Star Wars that went like almost to
right?
the end.
Yeah, I was like, right. I'm like, this is like 10 times better than Luke's plan in Return of the Jedi. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, like them sniping on the roof, like everybody's skills like came out. Like they did that, they all did what they needed to do, and even the way that episode ended with him like contacting Moff Gideon, he's like, "Yo, I'm coming for that kid."
It feels like for the movie Taken, just right there,
Yeah,
like
yeah. I I know where you are, and if you don't release my daughter, I will kill you. Yeah, like this time
yeah.
is son.
And the episode didn't feel like like a. I know it sets up for the season finale, but didn't just feel like one of those like setup episodes. It was its own thing
Yeah,
still.
because I remember I tried to watch it like that night on Thursday, but it was like really late when I started to watch it, and I actually didn't finish watching it because I was like, damn, I really need to sleep. I'm really fucking tired. I've been working like all week, and I remember I watched like the first half, and at first I thought it would be more of like a filler thing because I got to the part where they were being chased by those things on the planet, and they were like in the little cargo ship trying to get to the stormtrooper base, and I was like, oh, that's cool, I guess, but this is kind of like it's a little fillery. But after that part, and it gets to the second half of that episode, like it's really, really, really good, and the character development and everything is great. I even like that Imperial officer who comes in because I thought that he just like the way he was now was still he was so loyal to the
Mm-hmm.
Empire, and like he couldn't even see like, wow, so our Death Star got destroyed, but that's not our fault. That's not the Emperor's fault. That's the fault of those rebels who destroyed it and they killed all those people. Like he saw a problem with that, but not with the hundreds of thousands that Mayfield said got killed under
Yeah,
like
under
his
his
command.
orders, like
Yeah. So it's like it's crazy, like the kind of showing the brainwashing of the Empire, you know?
hmm yeah, like
And
this not disbelief, but like the false belief of it all,
yeah,
like for especially
even
like
at the
high-ranking
Emperor's time.
officers that this is all they have too. Like they can't
Hmm.
let go of it.
Yeah, like they've invested so much time, they've literally gotten people killed. It's like they can't say that they're wrong at this point, you know? They're like, no, we're in the right here and we're helping the galaxy get better. And you all killed the Emperor and he was right. And yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
and that goes back to what Mayfield said, like while they were driving, where it's like it doesn't matter like who's in charge, someone's still oppressing people.
yeah. And yeah, I mean, that it's definitely interesting because it's definitely seems like the Empire at this point is kind of fragmented
Hmm
in different people are doing different things throughout different parts of the galaxy. Because obviously, like we saw in episode 5, I believe, episode 5, with Ahsoka asking about Thrawn and everything, seems like he's doing his own thing too, somewhere else, because that lady was working under him.
Yeah, it feels more like I mean the Empire had the whole galaxy in its hold, and now that the head's gone, there's still a whole
Hmm.
galaxy to free. It
Yeah,
it doesn't change automatically.
yeah, and then I think they were saying that a lot throughout the season. Like even with the first episode, the Empire falls, but they're still having to they have to kind of get them out, and then as soon as they get out, these other people come in and take over the town, and it's just like problem after problem, and these
Hey, that
people they still always need help. It's not just we destroyed the Death Star and it's over. Like yeah,
there's still a lot of work to be done, and that I mean
yeah,
parallels with like real world things. Like just because someone new is there doesn't mean everything's solved.
hmm yep, yep. And I think that's almost a message again is like everybody like people need to come together and be able to help each other like get to a certain goal and everything. Like just because the head of this or this person's gone or this person's not in charge anymore doesn't mean that things just automatically change. We gotta be able to change shit ourselves. Like we gotta do the work. So yeah, that's fair. Like definitely a really good episode. Like I said, at first I didn't really think so at first because I didn't get to watch it all first, but after that I was like, it's a really good episode. And fucking Bill Burr killed that role. So
Yeah, it just builds up, and that I think that's what kind of Star Wars is that works. Is that like whatever you have, you just let it build up to the point.
Yeah, definitely. Like so good. But now we gotta talk about episode 8.
Should we just like go like along with the episode? Or should we just cut to what we know we want to talk about?
No, we'll go along with the episode. We'll be patient. We'll make people wait. Yeah, so I mean, when it started and everything, you kind of, I mean, they kind of jump right into it, basically, where Dan and all of them are, they're on the way to try to get Gideon. I don't know. What do you think about just kind of the opening moments of the episode and everything?
Yeah, so it started off. They're chasing a Imperial. What is the ship called?
What was it, the TIE fighter?
No, it wasn't TIE fighter.
It was an Imperial, like the freighter, like the kind of was it the mini Star Destroyer? I think.
No, one of the. I'm blanking here. It's one of those carrier ships. It was where the Doctor was on.
Yeah. I can't think of it right now, but yeah, no. Yeah, with the Doctor, yeah.
Yeah, and them trying to get him just to gain his knowledge about the ship. And I thought at first I thought they were just gonna like take the ship and like doesn't matter what happens to these people, but it was still, like you said, interesting to see like people part of the Empire like, yeah, no, I'm gonna die with this.
Yeah, and he even took the Doctor hostage because he's like, oh well, you need him, but yeah, it's crazy. And it's just the episode 4 when that guy's like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself and take the ship down rather than let you guys have it, And it's crazy that they're willing to do this for the Empire still, even though Emperor's gone, Darth Vader's gone. They're still willing to do that. Tarkin, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Tarkin's gone. Like, yeah, like it's crazy.
Yeah, no, I did like the other guys like, yeah, no, I don't want to be a part of this anymore.
Yeah, that's a realistic. I think the same thing happened in the other episode where he's like, oh, I don't want to fight Mandalorians, and he just shot him. And yeah, it's crazy. Like the Empire was like, no, you can't not be a part of the Empire. Bam. And I always wondered that. Actually, I thought it was funny. I'm like, are these people forced to be part of the Empire, or did they choose to? Because who would willingly be on the same ship as Darth Vader when it's like, you fuck up, he's gonna choke you. I always wondered that.
I feel like it's one of those things where like people who signed up or think at first, like probably after Revenge of the Sith, like, okay, new Empire, let's do this. Like, and then like after a while, like any military things, like, okay, I don't want to be here.
Like shit, this dude chokes people every time they fucking mess up, man. We need to get out of here.
I mean, I don't know what's worse, like being a part of like Darth Vader's battalion and like you have to be 100% perfect, or like next thing you know, you're transferred to like Tatooine or something, and you just spend the rest of your life on a desert planet.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Obi-Wan's doing it, so
that is fair.
I mean, we'll find out what he's doing pretty soon, I guess. But yeah, like definitely, and I didn't actually think they were gonna like bring the Doctor in like that. Honestly, I don't know why. I just didn't expect it. I was like, oh, because they had him like in the hologram earlier in the season. I wasn't expecting him to just like for the episode to start and they're like chasing the Doctor. I was like, oh, okay, I guess.
Yeah. My question is how they found him too.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm assuming that's what they used the little tracking thing for that he kind of got from the base in the episode prior, I guess. Yeah, and then they just kind of use that.
And I also like how the Doctor is like was willing to just give them information. Like, yeah, no, I lost. Here it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just like when he got Grogu. The Doctor seems like he's just being like used to like because obviously he's a doctor and he doesn't actually want to like do any of this. He's just like, I can't really.
Yeah, I think it's just his fascination with Grogu that like this is the side that's doing it, so I'll be with them, but I'm not actually with them. I'm just on this side.
And I'm assuming that they'll probably threaten to kill him if he doesn't do it. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a lose-lose for anyone on the Empire.
It's like he doesn't have a choice. But yeah, beyond that, yeah, they found the Doctor, and obviously they go
get Bo-Katan, and I felt like that could have been done faster because like Lily's like, okay, we have the person you're looking for, let's go. But then they had to get into a little scuffle with Boba Fett.
Yeah, and I thought that was a little weird, only because, I mean, I guess they kind of sort of like fought with Din a little bit, but I don't know. I just thought that was weird because uh, she was talking to Din, right, in the other episode, episode 4, about how there's many different ways and this and that, but then for her to be like, "Oh, you're not a real Mandalorian," when like that's the kind of what he was doing, you know what I mean? So I thought that was kind of interesting, a little weird.
Yeah,
And then
it's
yeah,
just
obviously they fought, and it was like it's a little weird, but okay.
you're telling someone, yeah, there's many different ways to be Mandalorian, except for that. That doesn't count. Like, what's the
Yeah,
point of your argument?
yeah, because he was a foundling just like Din, so it's like, yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, well, Jango was a foundling. Sorry, Boba Fett, I guess, is a little. I guess she doesn't like him because he's a clone, technically.
Maybe
Which,
because that makes sense because the clones were the
yeah,
ones to occupy Mandalore after Order 66.
yeah. So that actually, you know what? I get that. She hates clones. I don't blame her. Like the clones killed a bunch of. She wasn't friends with Jedi or anything, but I'm sure she was more friends with like the Jedi that she had dealt with, especially like somebody like Kenobi or Ahsoka, than she was with any of the Sith or anybody. So yeah, I could understand that. And then clones, obviously, and she talked about it. Even she was like, "Oh, well, I've seen your face so many times and heard that voice," you know, because she probably just hates everybody who looks like and looks and sounds like that. And that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Um, so yeah, she probably that might be like the only one where she's like, "You can't be a real Mandalorian because you're just a
A clone.
clone. You're a
Yeah.
clone wearing armor. You're just a copy of your father. Like you're not even real." I think that's how she thinks of it. So
Yeah,
that's
she
fair enough.
didn't view it as a father-son relationship.
Yeah, I just thought it was weird. You agree that they kind of just like started fighting, and I think it was just a little bit more to like show off, like, "Oh, look how cool Boba Fett is." But it is a little. It was definitely a little weird. Like,
Yeah, I get why they put it in, but at the same time, like you could have not. But like, I mean, I enjoyed it nevertheless.
yeah, we got to see Sasha Banks actually do something. She still hasn't really hasn't talked, which I'm not surprised because she's a wrestler and pretty new actor. So I'm like, they're probably not
Yeah,
gonna
no,
give her
but
too many.
what they gave her, I thought she did pretty well, and I like you kind of instantly kind of draw towards her too.
Oh, well, I really like. I was telling Joe, I really love her armor. It's one of the
Mhm.
coolest armors I've seen. I just love the way her helmet looks and everything. It reminds me of like a Spartan helmet. You know, the Spartan army would use. Reminds me a little bit of that. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah,
And she's obviously a good fighter.
mhm.
So definitely would like to see more of that. Um,
My question is, what happened to the other guys they were with, like from the
oh, from
previous
the other
episodes?
episode? I don't know, because that guy was also, it's another one who was from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. too. That's a funny thing. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they only signed him on for one episode.
I guess I'm like, we could have used all the help. Like, where'd he go? Like, call him.
Just had him doing something else. I don't know. Yeah, that's definitely interesting. And we found it interesting too that because she used to be part of the Night Owls. I don't know if they're still that, but the Night Owls was like they were all female Mandalorians. So I thought it was interesting that he was there in the first place. Because I'm like, would she go back to doing the Night Owls, or just kind of like she's just trying to build this period, just like a new kind of like
I think
Mandalorian?
she's probably at the point where like, let's just all work together. We're all Mandalorians, except for Boba Fett.
Yeah, except for Boba Fett. Yeah, except for that guy.
He doesn't count.
Fuck that guy. Boba Fett's doing his own. We'll get to
Okay,
that.
well, we'll get to that.
Yeah. So then after that, then like,
And we
hey,
get to like the ship, and
let's go get this
it was a solid
motherfucker.
again, solid plans. Work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how Mandalorian plans seem to work like
And
most of the way.
I think that Filoni and Favreau have watched through all the Star Wars, like just everything, and they've been like, "Damn, that's a little bit of a convoluted plan. Let's do a little bit better than that. Okay, let's
Let's
not
just
do
make it
that."
straightforward.
Didn't make
They know what
sense.
they're doing.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, definitely they actually have decent plans of like how to get something. I don't think they expected the sheer amount of dark troopers that were going to be on that ship.
I felt like there was more towards the end than there were in that room.
Yeah, I don't know if they came from somewhere else. Like, yeah, I felt the same way, but yeah, that I felt like there was definitely more. Ended up being more.
Yeah, so like
Um,
before we get to that, it did go from them landing the ship. So I'm like, wow, you guys are really believing this so far.
mhm.
Beating up everyone inside the ship. And those were cool moments where they're just
Yeah,
gunning down the line.
and it was cool to see just all those badass characters that we've seen this whole time, just kind of like teaming up. Because
Mhm.
we thought maybe we get to see Bo-Katan would come back, but obviously we didn't know when we talked about this. We didn't know about like episode 6 and like Boba Fett coming and like joining him and shit, and fucking Ming Na Wen's character being part of it and everything. So yeah, definitely. And it's really cool because they all have like, their own like certain skill sets and everything. Obviously, like Gina Carano is also really good shot, but she also has like this like physicality and she like takes people down. And you got
And like gun doesn't work. I'll just use the gun.
yeah, she just like hits people in the face if she needs to with the gun, whatever she needs to do. You got fucking Boba Fett and all his fucking gadgets, which are just insane. Yeah, Ming Na Wen's character, who's just she doesn't fucking miss. Obviously, you have Din, who's like, hey, just keep shooting me, it's fine. I got Beskar on, and
I
he's just
mean,
going, yeah,
going from there, like to when he does have to fight that one death trooper and is just wailing at him. I'm like,
yeah,
that's probably a concussion here too, but the fact
yeah.
that
I'm
that
like,
helmet is protecting you
yeah,
is amazing.
I'm like, he was hitting his helmet, and I'm like, damn, it's protecting him, but I know that that's gonna hurt. Like his head's like rolling around there. Yeah, and
I doubt it's cushioned.
I think he was punching him into the wall, which is a crazy thing. Like I think his helmet was actually like causing a
Yeah, it was
dent,
denting it in and like
which
yeah,
is
he's gonna feel
insane.
that later.
Yeah, and even when he finally finds, well, first off, he let those dark troopers trap them in that room and then let them out in the airlock. And
Yeah.
but I think we all knew it's like, well, we saw them fly earlier, so we know that that can't be it. That's the
Yeah.
one thing. That's the one thing I thought was a little weird because they all came back, right? I thought it took a little bit too long for them to come back because I'm like, I know they all can fly.
Mhm. It,
So yeah,
I think they're just I know it was for making things more dramatic, but yeah,
yeah,
you'd think also that they'd be magnetized to the floor. Like once the door opens, they're just still standing there.
yeah, something like that. I mean, I don't personally know how strong the vacuum of space is. Maybe magnetism isn't strong enough. I don't know. It's like when you have two magnets, you put them together, but if you're strong enough, you can pin them together. So
Yeah.
maybe it's like that. I don't know how strong the vacuum of space. I don't want to find out how strong it is. Yeah, I know that even if you open up a plane door, like it's hard to just like you can't just hold on to something. Like you have to be like
Yeah,
strapped in.
that's it. Once the doors are open, that's it.
Yeah. So I'm like, I can imagine the vacuum space might be pretty strong. I don't know,
Probably.
but
But yeah, no, they came back in the end
leave that
still.
to the scientists. Yeah, but then obviously he finds Gideon, who he knew that they were in there. He was prepared in there with Grogu,
Mhm.
and
And dude, yeah, Gideon was prepared for like all like outcomes.
yep.
Well,
And
almost all.
that's kind of like per the course with like just characters that he plays in general. Like Giancarlo Esposito, he just always plays a super smart, bad guy all the time. Um, but yeah, it was really cool. Well, I thought it was funny that because he did as cool as Din is,
He's
he's
very
still
trustworthy.
he is he still has this like tendency to just be like, well,
A deal's a deal.
the deal, right? This is honor. Okay, well, give me the kid, and it's like, come on, man, he's not gonna. And I'm
For a
hoping,
second, I kind of believed with Din. I'm like, oh, that's it.
yeah, I'm
Awesome.
like,
Let's
oh,
go
okay,
home.
yeah, he just wants the blood. It's fine, just take it. Yeah, yeah. I hope that is one of his character developments in season 3 is that he starts to kind of be like, okay, well, I see that not everybody is about honor and holding their word, so maybe I shouldn't just believe what people tell me. Yeah, yeah,
Maybe this one time backfires.
yeah. I'm like that. I could see that actually happening like next season. He finally doesn't trust somebody, and then it like backfired. But yeah. It's definitely funny that he still does that. He's like, come on, man, this is like the bad guy. He just kidnapped this kid.
But it's
He,
interesting because like throughout you kind of understand why, because throughout the season, like each episode is him making these deals with people and them carrying
yeah,
out these deals. So like the last time it's like, yeah, okay, let's make a deal. Sure.
Think after
It's
the
worked out the
episode,
7 last time.
you think after episode 4 when he like trusted these guys and they kicked Baby Yoda, I'm sorry, Grogu into a giant sea monster. You think after that you'd be like, man, maybe I should just like stop.
Hey, it's like they say, like the first time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. But no more third time.
I mean, he's had like a third, fourth, fifth, sixth time.
Well, then shame on him.
Yeah, oh like damn, man. But yeah, that I just find that so funny that he still does that. But the fight between the two though, it's really
That
cool.
was epic, and like I never once looked at like the timestamp of the episode because like didn't cross my mind. But like interesting how early that does happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's like about halfway because they're and now that I do actually look at it sometimes when I'm watching, and I'm like, damn, this is like maybe a little bit after halfway or something like that through the episode. Well, what the fuck is gonna happen after this? Because they're already fighting. That's kind of the thing that me and Joey were talking about that we expected to be like the finale of this episode or something like this. Him and because we knew that he got that spear so he could fight, so he could fight Gideon, but that just like happened. It's like, oh, okay, they're doing it right now, and it's even cooler to see that he was able to just best him. He just like knocked the Darksaber from him. So it's like Gideon's good, but he's not that good.
Yeah, he has to be more brains than bronze because he knows once he's into a fight, it's kind of a toss up. So he prepared himself all the way up to that point. But even when he lost, he knew like, oh, I have my way out.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that was actually my question. I'm like, do you think that he was, I wouldn't say going easy, but do you think that he kind of was like, I want him to beat me because I know that Bo-Katan's with him? Or do you think he kind of like, after he lost, he was like, well, this is fine because Bo-Katan's here? Or do you think he just always had this kind of contingency, like, if he beats me, I mean, then he has the Darksaber and now Bo-Katan's gonna, like, yeah.
I think probably, yeah, he probably had that idea. I'm like, yeah, it's okay if I lose. Like, I'm not going to go in 100%. Like, he won't, he knows he won't be killed. And he knows if he wins, he's out. If he loses, there's still a backup plan. So,
yeah.
I wish I was that confident going into battles.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting. And then that just makes him such a smart bad guy. And then
absolutely. And then we get to the bridge.
Yes, obviously he disarms him, takes him to the bridge, and he just
walks in casually.
Walks in casually with the Darksaber like ignited, like.
But that's the thing, he doesn't know what it is. He just thinks it's some cool weapon. Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, she didn't really listen. I love Bo-Katan, but I mean, it's kind of also like her fault. I mean, I get that she was like, "Hey, leave him to me. I want to like," but I'm sure the Dim was just like, "Oh yeah, I'll just take him to her, and she'll be."
And then they can fight.
And then she can kill him or whatever she needs to do. Like, she didn't really tell him exactly what the Darksaber was for. She was just like, oh yeah, he has something.
And I don't think Din still understands like the full concept of it. He's like, just take it.
Like, take it. Yeah, so he didn't understand.
And at that point, I thought that was going to be the finale, like Bo-Katan versus Din Djarin, because like it kind of was setting up that way. Oh, okay, now it's going to be a fight between allies, and
then I think she was considering it, but I found it funny actually that she hesitated so much. Like, just knowing Bo-Katan and like how she's been throughout like Clone Wars and everything, I honestly expected to be like, well, Mando, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to fight.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna put on a helmet and just go wham.
Yeah, I honestly thought she was gonna do that. So I'm like, maybe she's just a kind of different now. Because I feel like, yeah, definitely Bo-Katan.
I mean, she's been through a lot.
Yeah, like Bo-Katan and Clone Wars, I think would have straight up been like, all right, let's go, man. Like, I think she would have straight up just done it. But I think now, yeah, it's especially with what you said, where I think she is trying to build like just the Mandalorian race, the Mandalore again. I think she's kind of like, well, I mean, I don't want to kill my own kind. I don't want to do this and that, So I'm almost like, maybe that had to do with it.
I feel like if it was Boba holding it, she would have went all in.
Yeah, and then obviously while she's pondering it, friggin' Moff tries to escape, and actually no, he didn't try to escape. But what I found interesting is that he tried to kill himself. And
it's that Empire thing.
Me and Joey have been talking about this because we were like, is Moff the one? Like, is he the head of everything going on? The fact that he tried to kill himself almost made me think there's somebody worse. And he's like, I'm gonna kill myself because So now I'm kind of like
Is this
100%.
Thrawn?
Yeah, I'm like 100% sure. Like Thrawn, Palpatine, whoever, somebody is above him, like, telling him what to do. Because the fact that he tried to kill himself is very interesting. And people even pointed out at the end that when the that character came in, that he almost recognized him. And I mean, I feel like most people in Empire would recognize him. And I think we can go ahead and talk about it now.
Yes, the lone X-wing. And at first I'm like, okay, cool. The New Republic's here,
Yeah, the
right?
Republic. Yeah.
And then they're like, no, it's just this one dude. I'm like,
It's the
no.
fact that they were like, and it's funny because during this part, I was actually like eating some food, and I was kind of like looking down, and I heard Cara Dune say like, "One X-wing, I guess we're saved" or something like that, and I was just like, "Wait a minute, one?" I was like, "One? Hold up!" And then of course you see it like get in there, and you see the person in the cloak coming down. I'm like, "Oh no way! There's no fucking
And
way."
like with the music
But,
change too, you kind of had that uneasy feeling of they did it.
yep, and I, as soon as he ignited the green lightsaber and you saw the glove, you're like, "Oh my god, holy shit!"
My
Like,
heart stopped. Like I had to feel myself like, am I alive?
yeah,
I was punching the air. I'm like, let's go.
bro. And that it's crazy because like Joey called that shit, and like, he called Thrawn too, and I was just like, I really didn't think they were gonna put Luke in here, man. I didn't think they were gonna put Luke, but they fucking put Luke, and I was like,
Like it
holy
was
shit.
that hope in the back of the head everyone had, but they're like, they're
Yeah,
not gonna do it.
I was like, that's crazy. And we were talking about how we felt some of the earlier episodes in the season that they kind of like cut back on a few things where we felt like, oh, they could have maybe did a little bit more on the budget. And Joey should have said, like, well, maybe they cut back on those things because they wanted to spend it on some de-aging technology for Luke. And I was like, I mean, maybe we'll see. And yeah, they fucking did. Like, it's crazy. Like, holy shit, dude. But seeing him like dismantle
It,
the
it felt like
dark,
Anakin
yeah,
when he went to Mustafar the first time and just took out all the separatist leaders. It felt the same. He's just there's
yeah,
these
it's
things
like,
in my way. I just gotta take care of them.
and those things were just like taking like blaster shots, fire, everything with like no issue. And you see Luke just cutting them down like they're the fucking battle droids from episode 1. Like, it's that's insane. Like, yeah, those droids were insanely powerful for everybody else, and then it was cool to see him like, damn, he's this fucking strong now. And that's my favorite outfit too of Luke, is just the
Oh
black
yeah,
one and like the black gloves and all that stuff. Because
and then just the green glow around him.
yeah, and it's very much like, what they did with Anakin's in Revenge of the Sith. I just really like those outfits and everything. So that was really cool to see, and just the way that he did it. The scene reminded me of the hallway scene from Rogue One with Vader, which I'm damn certain they did that on purpose. I'm like, Vader had a hallway scene, Luke has a hallway scene now, and they're fucking both awesome.
Hey,
uh,
like father, like son. I mean, they get it done.
exactly, like it. Yeah, it was insane. It was great to see Luke in his prime. I will say, my only thing.
If you're gonna talk about the CGI,
Yes,
go
this is
for
just
it.
it's just a personal thing. It's a personal thing for me. The CGI, like the aging faces, still throw me off a little bit because you can tell that they're not. It's not a real face,
Yeah,
but
it's not perfect yet, and I would
yeah,
be afraid once it gets perfect because then they could do anything they want. And it's one
man,
of those. It's just you have to have that disbelief. But yeah, I
bro,
get what you're saying. It does throw you off, but
bro, have you ever seen
I'm
any of these fucking deep fakes online? Because they're
yeah
getting a
it,
little
it
crazy.
eh.
Yeah, that's scary because people can do some of this shit on their computers now, and I'm like, oh, that's not going to be good. But definitely, I mean, it was cool seeing him, and then obviously Mark Hamill doing the voice, and he did a fucking excellent job of making himself sound like him if he was like 30. Because
that
obviously,
I think that's just the perfection of his voice acting.
yeah, he's such a good voice actor. So I was like, yeah, if they bring him in for that, yeah, I don't think there's gonna be any issue. He'll be able to do that like that. Like, he has so many voices, so many ways, and I'm like, Luke is just it's him, and he just had to be himself younger. Like, hell yeah, like
Easiest
he's
paycheck,
the
I guess, for
person.
himself.
Yeah. What I found interesting, I'm gonna talk about this after the actor who was the body for Luke.
Okay, I was curious about this.
It was actually, let me see if I can find his name. But he was from The Sandlot. First off, this guy from The
Really?
Sandlot. He was in The Sandlot. That they talked about movies he was in. And that's the one that I recognize the most out of the
Was he
three
one of
of
the
them.
main kids in the Sandlot, or just like an extra?
Think so. So his name was. Uh, his name is. Here he is. Max Lloyd Jones, one of those people with three names, which was like really popular back in the 90s, which is kind of funny. Um, but yeah, like someone was like, is this guy gonna be like Luke and they're gonna do this? Or was it just for that? Because I know a lot of people have been talking about, oh, they'll bring in Sebastian Stan or something like
Yeah.
that, but it's like, no, because I've never seen Switch the Birth of iZombie, so I don't know what this guy, like acting wise, I don't know what he's like or anything. Obviously, The Sandlot I saw when I was a kid, so I don't think you can base too much off of when he was a kid, um, off of now. But I mean, face wise, he kind of looks like Luke, I guess, like the guy himself. But uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Uh, I'm assuming they're probably gonna have Luke appear in more things since a
It
lot of
would
these
be
shows they're talking.
interesting because I've heard this before. Is him
Mhm.
showing up in the Obi-Wan series because he's a kid at that point.
Yeah, like they could have him show up as a kid because obviously, I mean, that's what Obi-Wan's there for. I think it's pretty much a given he's gonna show up at some point. Um, but I almost wonder if he's gonna show up in these other things, like we talked about Rogue Squadron. You have the uh, Rangers of the Republic, and there's so many things that he could be around for because a lot of these are going to be in the same era as like the Mandalorian or before or after or whatever. So, and I'm just curious what they're going to do because that doing the de-aging thing, like with Luke's face, that could get really, really expensive. I mean, I know Disney has a fucking they have a world's amount of
Yeah.
money, but yeah, that's a lot of work and a lot of expense if you're gonna do a whole series like that. I know Joey was talking about, oh, maybe they'll do an animated Luke series. I'm like, why would they introduce him in live action though, and then do animated? I don't know.
Yeah,
So,
it's gonna be tough, and that's something they gotta. And that's the thing that like I kind of like lied down after the episode, like on my bed. I'm like, okay, so you just reintroduced Luke Skywalker here.
mhm,
Now I want more. So what are
exactly.
you gonna how are you gonna give this to the fans
And I
going
don't,
forward?
and like I talked about, we talked about how people feel about animated already. I would personally be perfectly fine if they did an animated series
It'll
of
be
Luke. And
much easier on Mark Hamill too.
it'll be so much easier, but most people watch the live action stuff. We've seen that with the Mandalorian. People are watching Clone Wars a little bit more. Most people still aren't going to watch Rebels because they're like, oh, that one's like really more of a kid show, blah blah blah. But live action people watch. So
Mhm.
and then they're doing the Ahsoka live action series. It's just it makes
They
sense
have
for
to
them to do
bring
that.
him into that.
So I'm like, are they going to keep doing that, or are they going to actually have somebody who's going to play Luke? And I don't know if it's this guy. I would have to see more like what he's done. Maybe I'll like go
Mhm.
look at iZombie or something. I don't know.
I
Just
don't
to
know,
see.
and I don't even know what his actual voice is.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, are they gonna keep having Mark Hamill come in to do the voice while this guy does this? I mean, it's possible. They've done it with Darth Maul for years. They've done it with, you know,
Yeah, and like,
but
are they gonna use some kind of like a Jaws thing where like he's there, but we're not gonna show the camera at him until we need to?
mhm.
Because that's what they did for this. Like, not until like the very
Yeah,
end we got to
he
see
had the
his
hood up.
face.
Yeah. So, and I'm assuming that he's probably able to do a lot of that, like just kind of the stunt work and everything. So maybe that's also why they chose him. Um, I almost wonder if maybe it's a thing where maybe they bring in Sebastian Stan, but then this guy's doing like the shots like that where he's like
Yeah, the stunt
put
work.
up and doing that and like I don't know. So that it could be interesting. I definitely agree with you. I don't think there's any way that you introduce Luke in live action and then not do more live action Luke. So
Yeah,
uh,
like you just gave us this like like a slice of pie, this beautiful pie.
mhm.
Where's the rest of it?
Yeah. So uh, yeah, I mean I'm glad you brought that up because I love pie, and I'm not gonna eat just a little size pie. I'm gonna eat the whole fucking pie. Like,
Yeah, and like we know you can make more pie. Like I'm
yeah,
gonna come back here more often.
yeah, exactly. And it's like we've seen it, we want it. Like, give it to us. Yeah, yeah, we'll see.
Mhm.
But this definitely has to, and now we have so many questions. It's like, so Grogu's with Luke Skywalker now, which I did not expect to
Yeah,
happen. But
before
I
we
was
get
like,
to that, like that gets to the goodbye, and that was you
yeah,
went from oh cool Luke Skywalker to oh god this is emotional now. Uh,
that, yeah, that
that
fucking that tugged at
goodbye.
your fucking heartstrings, and like just didn't taking off his helmet to like look at him one more time, like with his helmet off and let him see him. I'm like, God damn, it's like the best father and son bond on TV, man. Like, it's really sad that you feel like your kid was fucking like leaving for college or something. Yeah? Like, shit.
I know, like you worked so hard for this moment, and then it's there, and like
Hmm.
that's goodbye.
I think that was the thing is I almost expected this not to end like that. I almost expected like maybe we'll go into season 3 and he's still trying to get Grogu back, or they left us on a cliffhanger. But I'm like, no, this is like happening. Like, he completed his mission and he found Luke Skywalker and he's giving Grogu to Luke. So it's like, where does the
Where
show
do
go
we
from here?
go?
Where
Well,
does the show go from here?
I guess Mandalore. I guess we're going back to Mandalore
Yeah,
because
I
this
mean,
is the Mandalorian.
that's the place that it has to go. And I'm almost like, I don't know. Like, did they do that so they can kind of like move on to that as well, or
I this like you said, so many questions now. Like once you kind of keep digging at
yeah,
it, and what I was gonna bring up is like when R2 shows up, that was a great moment too, and it
yeah,
seemed like Grogu knew R2 already, or at least an astromech like that. And like
oh yeah. I
my
mean,
friend was telling me about this theory, like what if R2's the one who saved him at the temple because he was there with Anakin?
that's true. Yeah, and then obviously R2. Well, I mean, I don't know. R2 didn't like go along with Anakin or anything.
I mean, he was
Obviously,
probably
they.
on the ship because
Well,
they
I mean,
used the ship to get to Padme afterwards.
yeah, he brought R2 on his ship to Mustafar, but then obviously, Anakin was left on Mustafar. So
Well, this is during the Jedi purge at the temple.
yeah,
Because like, because after the temple purge, I believe Anakin went to Padme, and R2 was with him for that part. So there's a chance he was at the temple too, and that's just the theory
yeah.
my friend was telling me.
Well, I'm trying to think if he did bring on the Mustafar or not. I believe he did.
He did. Like Anakin, I guess, like entire third act had R2 with him the entire time.
And our R2, even though he never talks, we can kind of like understand what he's like thinking or feeling. And you
Mhm.
can almost tell even when he was on Mustafar or like doing all this
Like
stuff with
this
Anakin.
ain't right.
Like, whoa, what's going on, dude? Let's
But what's
chill.
crazy about R2 is that his mind never really gets wiped, so he knows everything. And
Yeah,
like when people are like trying to figure things out, R2's like, "I'll never tell."
pretty much. It's like because he only talks to people that he like really trusts.
Mhm.
So it's like, oh, if I don't know you that well and trust you, I'm not going to give you this information. Like, and I think he understands that too from being around for so long.
Mhm.
He's like, oh, there's like certain people that you need to trust or not trust, and he's seen all this, So he's like, oh, I'm not just going to give out information. Like, I saw how that happened before. Like,
Yeah, I would find it funny like after Empire where Luke's like, "Yeah, Darth Vader is my father," and R2's like, "Yeah, you didn't know?"
hmm yeah. So I wonder even if like I don't know if we get like a Luke series, if we get like some sort of like just funny like conversation between the two.
Hmm.
Although, well, yeah, I forgot what the theory was. Is that before I think Return of the Jedi, either they were wiped or C-3PO was wiped.
Only C-3PO.
C-3PO, yeah, because yeah, he didn't remember R2D2. That must feel like it's a thing where R2D2 like understands that, and he's just not gonna try because he's like, okay, he's not gonna remember me, but it's fine. We're
Yeah,
just gonna go. We're gonna
the
become friends
fresh new
again.
start.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, especially with C-3PO. C-3PO, like they
Mhm.
were friends, I guess, but C-3PO also kind of hated R2 in the way you could tell. Like he's like, why are you always getting in trouble? Like, stop. Like he's always trying to just like get R2 to just not like do shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, it's funny. I'd love to see a moment between him and Luke where it's like, yeah, I mean, Vader was my father and now he's dead. C-3PO's just like, beep, 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 beep. He's like, wait, what? You knew the whole time? You didn't tell me?
It's like, oh man, I got a bunch of stories to tell you.
Yeah, so about him. Remember the younglings back at the temple? No.
About that.
Yeah, and yeah, it's just crazy to know that during the season that Grogu was a youngling at the temple, but obviously he wasn't with the other younglings.
Yeah, because there's multiple younglings at the time. Anakin was just in one room.
And I mean, Ahsoka, I guess at that point was still around somewhere. Well, no, she was gone by then. Yeah, she was already gone. But yeah, the fact, and Grogu was like a toddler, I guess, basically at that time, because he wasn't quite there yet.
Yeah, I love the memes where like he's in the restroom or something, or he's nice to Anakin. So Anakin's like taking him off the list.
Yeah, and they were born at the same time, which is crazy. So it's like, I almost wonder if they'll have more connections with that, possibly. Just
Maybe.
the fact that him and Anakin were born at the same
time, and like who knew about Grogu at the Jedi Temple? Because that, I mean, they didn't have an idea at the time during the Clone Wars series, but like you could do something like that with the Bad Batch now.
Yoda had to know. Like Yoda had to know, right? Yeah, no, that's the other thing. It's like, yeah, the Bad Batch, just these things after Clone Wars are just around that time. And it's like, yeah, what's going to happen with that? Because they're obviously not going to it's not going to be just about the Bad Batch. Like nothing with Star Wars is ever just about
one particular thing. Yeah.
They're about that one thing anymore. It's like, we're branching out. There's going to be some Easter egg here. There's going to be a character here who you're not expecting. There's going to be a storyline here.
Maybe the Bad Batch are the ones who saved Grogu.
Exactly. So I'm like, yeah, what if it's them? Just like, yeah, who knows?
Maybe that's why he's okay with Mandalorians, because clones wear basically the same armor.
Yeah, the helmet's really similar, and he would have seen that. Although I will say the Bad Batch, a lot of them don't wear the helmets.
That is fair.
The time, so that's the only thing with that. But he might be just be comfortable with like maybe soldier types in general. Like, oh, he's wearing armor, he's got this and that. Maybe he's fine. I don't know. Because I'm assuming he probably wouldn't be fine with people like the Doctor or Gideon, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So he's probably not comfortable around them. I mean, you could see that he wasn't comfortable around Gideon. He's like, I want to choke you like I did those stormtroopers, but I can't because I'm tired. But
yeah, and I get like Grogu is still like a baby at 50 years old, but I'm curious, like, will we see possibly a time jump with him?
I don't know. We're talking about this. Well, if we would see a time jump with this show, but now that Grogu isn't with him right now, I'm like, I think we're just gonna continue on from where we're at and then go from there. Maybe there'll be a slight time jump. Like maybe season 3 will start off and it's like a couple years later, and maybe he's on a mission trying to do Mandalorian things with Boba Fett and Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan and Boba Fett still don't like each other, and I don't know. Like,
well, if we're going to talk about Boba Fett, we should probably move on to the after credits scene.
Yes. Because actually I didn't see that the first time because I was like, oh, okay, I need to go to work now. Just watch this, and then I came back. I'm like, I'm gonna rewatch this episode, and I kept watching because I'm like, oh, I need to watch the credits and see all the artwork and shit. And then that came on, and I was like, oh, what's this? I missed this. And yeah, I mean, another thing where I just wasn't fucking expecting it to happen. He just infiltrates fucking Jabba the Hutt's palace.
Yeah, I mean,
that one dude's
first I'm like, I wonder who leads the Hutt clan now, and then I forgot what the dude's name, but the guy from Return of the Jedi. I'm like, oh, the years have not been kind to you. Never mind, you're dead.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, I wasn't expecting that. And then obviously it's him at the end sitting on.
Yeah, because at first I'm like, okay, Boba's going back to his roots. He's gonna work for the Hutt family again. Like, okay, no, he is the Hutt clan now. Retirement looks good on him.
This is his shit now. Yeah, so like, and I know some people were debating. It's like, oh, is this gonna be a whole nother series? Is this gonna be like something else that's a part of Mandalorian? Like, what's going on? Is he just kind of?
I want to say it's a whole different series because if they do Mandalorian season 3 as a Boba Fett show slash Din Djarin show slash Bo-Katan show, it's gonna get too crowded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that honestly next season is gonna be him with these other Mandalorians trying to find another way, or maybe he'll go find his clan, because we thought that he was gonna find them this season, but like none of them. We didn't see any of them. We didn't see the armor, and nobody. So
And I
I mean,
get
definitely.
and how is it going to tie into like the other shows? Are they going to be kind of like mini crossovers, or does one show lead to the next show? Because I guess they're trying to be more like Marvel.
And something curious that I was thinking about, because of like the armor, obviously they used to be Death Watch, and then they became the Children of the Watch and all this shit. And the armor even has like a helmet that has like these kind of little horns on it. So I'm always wondering if he's gonna start questioning them, and then they're gonna kind of be like, well, we're still like basically Death Watch. Maybe they still follow like Maul and like his teachings and stuff. I don't know. Maybe they still believe in that, and that's gonna start becoming like a thing of contention, because maybe he's gonna realize like, oh, this guy used to be aligned with like the Empire, who, the same people that took Grogu, and there's just gonna be like this conflict now with his clan. That's kind of things that I was thinking about.
Yeah,
That could
and didn't
possibly happen.
some Mandalorians join the Empire too? Because because like you said, we're trying to get all the Mandalorians together, but also there's people who join the Empire who are still going to die for the Empire. Are they still on Mandalore too?
Yeah. So, and if they go to Mandalore, yeah, definitely, that's going to be really interesting. There's so much lore, not only from like Clone Wars, but like beyond that, like Old Republic shit that they could go back to, and they've already talked about this, because the Children of the Watch follow like Mandalore the Great from the Old Republic. They follow those teachings of like, oh, you never take your helmet off. We're warriors first and foremost, honor, blah blah blah, like this kind of shit. But like I said, like he's been taking his helmet off like this whole season. He's kind of like questioning things like, well, these are Mandalorians too. So how's our way the way? But then they have
Their
a
way is
different
also
way.
the way. Like, whose
Yeah,
way is it?
yeah. So it's like, I definitely think that's going to be the main thing of that season. Is just him kind of questioning it. Maybe he'll come across some other Mandalorians, Sabine perhaps.
I would absolutely love that.
Is Grand Admiral Thrawn going to come into this next season? Perhaps, I don't know.
Like you said, he's probably the big bad guy coming next for this
Well,
new Republic. But yeah, like how are these shows going to be connected? Do I have to watch like episode 2 of the New Republic show before I watch episode 1 of Ahsoka, before I watch episode 3 of Mandalorian?
yeah. So that's my only thing is, so they did that, right? They had the Ahsoka episode, and then she talked about Grand Admiral Thrawn. But now I'm kind of questioning. I'm like, is he going to be the bad guy in the Mandalorian, or is he be the bad guy in the Ahsoka show? Is she going to go in her show and join up with Ezra grown up and Sabine grown up, and they're going to go after Thrawn? Well, because like otherwise, what's her show going to be about then? Who is she going after? It's not going to be Darth Vader or anything. Darth Vader's already dead. So it's like, who is she going after then? So I'm like, I almost feel like that's going to be Thrawn. And this is one of my only worries with all these shows. Is it going to be like those Marvel shows that came out on Netflix, where, oh, here's this character from this show, and did you watch this show? You got to go watch this show, and then they had the Defenders, and
That's what I feel like it's headed towards. And like I
yeah,
don't mind it, but at the same time,
for,
I
for
hope they know
TV
what they're
shows.
doing.
Yeah, for TV shows, it can start to get convoluted if you do that. It's one thing for movies to have that, because it's just like usually, one movie, and then you can have a character in there, and you go to the next movie, and then you have a character in there, and they're all like kind of their own thing. But when you have a show that's like multiple seasons, and you keep connecting this, it's going to start to get a little confusing. Like, what's a good example? The DC superhero shows on the CW.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get a little confusing, because you constantly have.
Yeah, I lost watching it because it just kept growing, and it's not a bad thing per se, but you kind of lose a lot of steam.
Yeah, it's like you have fucking the Flash, the Arrow, and obviously the Arrow ended, so then you don't have that anymore. And then I think Supergirl got canceled, and I think Black Lightning or something like that. Those got canceled, and I think Batwoman.
Oh wow. Well, Batwoman's coming back with a new Batwoman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Black Lightning and Supergirl, I believe, either got canceled or they're just gonna end.
Oof.
Yeah, and then but It's a black woman. But I mean, yeah, Batwoman is gonna have a new Batwoman. So yeah, that shit's just kind of confusing when it's like TV shows, because then it's like, oh, kind of we have to try to explain it. I mean, luckily for them, they have the Flash, and they can just be like, oh yeah, Barry just decided to run through
Everything.
time and space, and
We're
everything.
starting over.
Yeah.
But what
So they,
works for Disney is that they're only doing like 8-episode seasons. It's not like the CW where you have to watch 27 episodes and like, okay, when do I jump to the other season?
and I doubt something like the Kenobi series will be that connected to any of the
No, I
source
heard
stuff.
that's just going to be contained. So that's good.
Yeah. So it's like I don't think anything like that they have to worry about. But definitely, like when you have Rogue Squadron, it's like now we're gonna be like, well, I mean, Luke's gonna show up in there, right? Or you have the Rangers of the Republic are like, well, Luke's gonna be in there, right? Like, yeah. So,
And like that's the problem with Disney. Now they're going to have everyone asking is like, hey, is Luke coming in this episode?
hey, is Luke gonna be here? No, Luke. Hey,
Or
Mark.
like
Mark Hamill. He's gonna be
something
sweet
like
Mark Hamill.
big bad's going to show up and like, Luke can take care of this. Where's he?
Yeah, and that's definitely the kind of the issue with Marvel. Sometimes it's just like, oh, hey, Spider-Man's fighting this super powerful guy that he's having trouble with. You should just call Thor. Wasn't he like in New York in the last movie? Right?
Yeah.
Can we get Iron Man over here? No. Well,
I think that was the problem with Phase 2, where like I know in like Thor 2, where it's like he's having this big battle in Europe. I'm like, someone's going to notice that and probably show up, right?
Yeah, Thor: The Dark World was. Yeah, there's quite a few issues with that one, but yeah, that was one of the main ones. I mean, I guess their excuse was that they kept warping between different realities, but yeah, this big like wormhole portal like down in the middle of Europe. Like, somebody's gonna come
Someone's got
down
to
there,
notice
right?
that.
Yeah, that's right. We got a few heroes that can get places pretty fast, so I would assume,
Yeah.
somebody was that. I guess unless they were busy with their own shit, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what Star Wars is like. You have this moment like, oh, Luke's here, so he knows when things go down. Will he be doing that from here on out?
And even this Lando series is like we're gonna expect now. Oh, is
Han Solo
gonna be in it? Maybe. I'm trying to think what time that is. Yeah, maybe Cassian Andor. It's like, could he possibly be in? So it's like you wonder, like, that's just the only thing is like you have all these shows going on at the same time. Like who's gonna be in this? Who's gonna be in that? So
it was easier to do that in animation because you could bring all these people together in one room. Now it's live action, and as much as I do love it, it's going to create problems for them, and I'm curious how they will figure them out.
Like one actor quits who was in the main role, and that's going to ruin like a lot. It's one thing. I mean, I think before, because I remember there was like all those rumors before the season started of the Mandalorian, like, oh, Pedro Pascal wants more money, he's gonna quit, blah blah blah. And at first, I was like, I mean, I like Pedro Pascal. I think he's a great actor. But on the other hand, Mando mostly wears his helmet a lot. So if you replace him, it's not going to be.
But now at this point, now that we've seen him without his helmet so many times, it's like, okay, now I need Pedro Pascal there.
Yeah, and I think that was actually part of like whatever this, if there was actually like some sort of like rift or spat, is because Pedro Pascal wanted more face time. Because obviously,
and he did great without the helmet too.
As an actor, you get paid more by showing your face. Like I get it, and I think the moments that he took his helmet off they absolutely made sense. They were good for the story. So I'm like, yeah, I see no problem. And I doubt that there was even like some huge spat or anything. It's probably like they were discussing it, and then people blew it up to like, oh my god, Pedro Pascal's gonna quit. Ah! Like, nah. Yeah, he's probably just like, hey, I think I should get more face time in the show. Blah blah blah.
Say no more, fam. I wish it was that simple.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, hey, he's a great actor. He deserves it.
It also could have been like you were saying before, like, yeah, we can't afford you. We're spending all our money on face technology.
Yeah. Especially with the amount of TV shows they have, like, depending on who they have in there, they're going to be spending a lot of money on certain things. So we'll see. But I think that's why
it's keeping me subscribed.
Yeah. I mean, that's most of the reason to have Disney Plus, I will say. Yeah, but I mean, besides Hamilton, I guess. But yeah, definitely there's some good shit coming up. I'm excited about it.
Oh yeah, me too.
I think after the last few years, it's just good to see Star Wars in a better place right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it sucks. We're gonna criticize it. We have criticized it, but I'm happy to see Star Wars doing well right now, trending in the right direction. So good job, Favreau and Filoni.
Oh yeah, no, Filoni and Favreau, they know what they're doing. Leave them all the TV stuff and like movies. Give it to directors who want to do it and know what they're doing, like Patty Jenkins. So we are looking in the right direction. There will always be questions and problems that come up, but it just how they do it. And once we see the final product, it's like I'm gonna give a sports analogy. As long as you have the wins, people are happy.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, sure. I mean, there can be some tumultuous things going on behind the scenes, or shit like that. There's gonna be problems on mostly any production. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I have like small productions that I've done, like a class or something. There's gonna be small shit, but if the end product comes out good, then that's cool. Not even point to like video games or anything else. It's like people will be mad at like this or that and like the production of something. But if it comes out and it's really good and it's a really good product, then people will be happy. And
Yeah.
that's the main thing they gotta make sure they do is just come out with good shit. Like, you just want to see good Star Wars. That's all we really care about. It's not
Yes.
Yeah. It's not
We just
that
want more
nothing.
Luke. The expectations are high, Disney.
Yeah. And like when we say good Star Wars, I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, good." So it's gonna be like what, Oscar worthy or something. But no, it's like Star Wars has never been never been that. It's just fun. It's always
Yeah,
fun,
that
and
it's yeah, exactly. It's
the
just
characters
been
are
a fun
fucking awesome.
ride.
Yeah, yeah. That's like, and that's the main thing. The characters. We just want to see the characters we love, and then make us love new characters. You know, that's one of the things. If you're gonna introduce a new character, like make sure that they are fucking awesome, so we can love them. Like, yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that there's so much fucking coming up. This has been a great season.
Oh, absolutely. And like I think they're working on the Boba Fett one right now, filming. I don't know about Mandalorian, but the future holds bright, and I can't wait for like because with the TV shows we'll be watching that from home, but like Rogue Squadron stuff, I can't wait for things to get back to somewhat normal or new normal, and we can
Yeah.
watch that in theaters because I bet that could be great in IMAX.
Yes. Yes. That I need theaters to open again, please. Thank you, so I can watch all this stuff. And yeah, this is definitely gonna be cool. Because watching on Disney Plus or whatever at home is fine, but I need to see some stuff on the big screen. And there's a lot. There's so much coming. I'm sure there's even more that we haven't even gotten announced yet. That's also coming. So we'll see. I mean, there's definitely the movies in 2022, 2023, all that stuff. The trilogy they're supposed to be doing.
I wouldn't mind if they kind of like forget about that because of what we're getting now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they can probably wait on it. Honestly, yeah, they can probably wait on it and then make sure they get that together, and so we don't have another sequel trilogy like situation. Just make sure you get all that together and have that all planned out.
Yeah, I think that's what
And
makes this current run different than the sequel trilogy because it felt like they're making it just to make it like, ooh, Star Wars. Well, this
yeah,
is we're making it because these characters want to be. We want these characters to be there for the people that watch it.
yeah, yeah. And they already had the roadmap. They already seem to have like quite a few plans for them, so I'm definitely happy about that. I'm excited to see what they all turn into. Yeah, yeah. I'm just excited.
The
So much Star
future is
Wars.
bright.
Yeah, so much Star Wars, man. Thank you. But yes, this has been Jabbering Jawas. Thank you, Dominic, for coming on. Before
Thank you
you
for
leave,
having me.
oh yeah, no problem. Before you leave, just say anything you want to plug, like if you're working on stuff right now.
So hi, I'm Dominic. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Mr. Details 707. On Instagram, I'm private, but I will probably let you in. And if I didn't, that's on you. I have a YouTube channel, Dominic Rocha. It has my face on it, but sketched. My friend Edgar did that. And I do a bunch of things. I have a Let's Play. Right now I'm doing a Super Mario Bros. 3 run. Been a lot of fun. And this Christmas, I don't know when this episode's coming out, but you can always circle back around to my channel. I'm going to be having a Christmas marathon of a bunch of different things Christmas related. So if you want to join me for that, go ahead. And I think that's about it. I also have podcasts, but you could also see that on my YouTube channel. I don't want to take too much time away from this.
Yeah, it's all good. And yeah, I'll probably just send me all that. I'm gonna plug it in the description and everything. And
Awesome.
yeah, like I said, thank you for coming on. Sorry that Joey couldn't be here. We know that he really wanted to fucking talk about this episode because
Yeah, I think he will when he comes back on here.
he was right yet again about Luke and everything. He's gonna rub that in my face, but yeah, I mean, it's been fun. This whole season has been fun. I can't wait for more Star Wars to come out and to be able to talk about it. So yeah, again, thank you for being on. And
thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yes,
Especially talking about Luke.
Yes, and yeah, if you want to be on in the future, we're always down. So
awesome, thank you.
See you all on the next one. May the force be with you.